Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Really excited because we've got Illia, the head of co-founder and everything of Near, and then we also have Escobar from Rhea, which we've got a lot to sort of break down and everything. Great to have everyone here. Let's just jump right in. First question, Escobar, frame for the audience what is Rhea and what it's going to be and do.
Sure. Rhea is previously Rhea is the biggest DEX and lending on top of Near that has been merged into one entity called Rhea, which is the intention of building Rhea right now is to lead the new narrative with chain abstracted and AI, and also leading the whole ecosystem DeFi scene, which is rooting into Bitcoin and also all this non-smart contract chain token utility. That's the whole intention, and to make sure there's a way where users can do every single little things about DeFi on top of one single D app, and on top of that, we with us integrating chain abstracted solution, which is like user like from Bitcoin native, they can simply connect their Bitcoin wallet and interact with on Rhea itself. Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got Ilya here. Here's what I want to ask. So, Ilya, so we've got user-owned AI, and we've got the near stack, right? How do you see something like a Rhea Dex slash like lending platform DeFi ecosystem working within all those spaces?
Yeah, for sure. So on the high level, right, DeFi is really like an infrastructure, like a financial infrastructure for the rest of the use cases that um, are built on top. And as we imagine in the future, where you have your AI assistant, your AI, companion that is able to go and interact and transact on your behalf, it needs a place where it can go and kind of leverage all of the DeFi superpowers. Um, and so Rhea is really building that hub. Now, Rhea itself already integrating AI, right? There's an AI assistant kind of integrated into Rhea. There's a kind of Delta Trade side, right? Creating different AI vaults. So it's kind of coming from both directions, right? Where as the kind of this AI assistant infrastructure matures, it will use more and more of the kind of financial infrastructure that Rhea is building, and then Rhea itself is starting to use more and more of these pieces to turn this kind of financial infrastructure into a more intelligent system.
Interesting. Yes, because I think sometimes when people think like blockchain and AI, it's like AI will be everything, but there's still going to be a lot of rails behind the scenes doing lots of stuff. With an AI agent is going to be moving value around crypto. It's going to go to possibly something like a Rhea and use that. Is that how you're thinking of it, Escobar, from like your guys' team?
Yeah. So I think Ilya covered like two main things that we have covered on AI right now that are already live. But I think in 3 to 6 months, what we're trying to build right now is how the AI agent can help us to let users just simply deposit their assets with all the security that can be supported through state agent, and also how the AI knowledge can simply aggregate all this lending platform or the yield infrastructure across chain. Simply, this AI can help them to manage their assets and what the strategy looks like better for their risk management. So let's say users like it's a very conservative investors, then we just gonna make some suggestions on what possible for him to do, and he simply do single click on it and deposit all his assets. Yeah.
So you've got an AI assistant and you're going to be using it to do maybe possible yield multi-chain, right? So Rhea right now it's a DEX, but it's so much more, right? It's also lending, margin products, Bitcoin, DeFi. Like, can you kind of go through some of the products this is and then follow up on that?
For sure. The initial product is basically Ref and Borrow is a tax and lending, right? It's a very I don't say old school, but it's just like a regular DAX, which is AMM and also lending like Aave. But then we also improve a lot in the DAX side. We do a lot of LP option, Like we have a CLMM, or concentrate liquidity market making, and also ALMM, which is helping user to generate more yield with their LP position. And on top of that, we also have margin trading, which is it's part of the lending product that let users to leverage more on their assets. Then we have bridge, utilizing the intent by Near and also Stargate, supported on the back end. Yeah, I think that's three core product. Then on BTC side, we also spin off the app that's BTC native, let all the users to just connect BTC wallet and they can utilize their BTC native BTC asset being supplied and borrow some stablecoin and leverage loop their assets to get more yield.
All right. Well, now I'm going to bring in Ilya here through a bit of the chain signature and all this kind of stuff because I'm curious, like your vision of this, and it's now being executed through someone like Rhea, is the idea of like near chain signatures and the cross chain with BTC, Zcash, XRP, BNB. Is that where you see this going with maybe all chains on a? I don't even want to call Rhea a DEX. It's so much more. It's like a DeFi ecosystem. Is that where you're seeing the future go?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been talking about this for like over a year and a half, I think, at this point. But yeah, the idea was like remove this kind of artificial boundary that like this app is on this chain and you can only do stuff here, right? And only users of the wallets of this chain can do stuff here. And really create kind of a smooth experience where you can come in with your Bitcoin wallet, with your EVM wallet, with your Near Solana, whatever. You don't even have a wallet, just Face ID, and start using the use cases, right? Which is the DEX, the lending, you know the launch pads, the all of this kind of financial and even beyond use cases in a way that is also fully kind of engaging assets across all chains as well. And so chain signatures were kind of the first, important piece to really interconnect this. Obviously, there's like message passing systems as well that are needed. But then on top, we need this application to really kind of create this experience. That's why, I mean, the half joke of last year was, your dApps are not dApps, right? So like the Rhea now is the first like really dApp that like any wallet, any asset, just make it work and kind of deliver on the use case, deliver on not just one, like on a whole host of financial use cases. Like I mean, we were joking about this before, but like if you think of it, Uniswap is not really a product; it's a feature. Like imagine you go to a bank and they're like, the only thing we do is we're gonna swap things, and only if you're like customer of our bank and pre-deposited money. And by the way, the registration is actually in another building with another company. And if you want to put money in, we don't have ATMs. ATMs are actually in another building somewhere else. Like that's the experience of cryptos. Uh, like no, we cannot take like you go to airport to change some money like in this TravelX thing. It's like no, we don't take your cash. Like you need to first go to another kiosk, give them cash. They'll give you the IOUs. Then go to another place, make sure you have a wallet set up. Then you come to us to exchange.
Totally. And what's funny is you say you've been talking about this for a year and a half. In my mind, basically, how fast is that? In a year and a half, you've gone from like what I'm seeing is like dexes and having to move money around, like hours I've spent waiting, just moving stuff from like chain to chain, fingers crossed, Now, a year and a half later, it's like there's a DeFi hub that's going to be very intertwined with all of crypto. To me, a year and a half seems like that was crazy fast. Like that seems like, I mean, think
Too
of like,
slow.
I know, but so that's really cool. Well, Ilya, while we still have you here, like let's jump into this AI powered vaults and yield optimization. So, uh, Escobar, can you frame this for us? Because I'm really interested in like AI. We all realize is going to be massive, and like I want to start using AI for like I'm a bad trader. Like I want AI to do this for me. What are you guys doing with this AI powered vaults? What is this? And then
Yeah. So On the other side of the product, like Ilya mentioned before, we have some pilot project that we call it Delta Trade. It's a grid bot trading. Well, simply how we want to utilize that grid bot trading, and also as part, in the other dexes, probably they just let user to deposit the fault, and then the fault will help them to adjust their strategy liquidity position, right? On our end, we gonna develop a pool that's called Apollo Pool. It's basically utilizing the Delta Trade grid, and it's also utilizing our lending. So before the assets been sent over to a liquidity pool, we just gonna send it to this lending, right? Suppliers and assets, and then we borrow out some stable coin, and then we make a position for them, which is this all position assets need AI to manage all this situation. And how we can provide this strategy to the users is, like I mentioned before, it's all based on the risk they would prefer, right? And on top of that, not just limited to our lending protocol itself, we just see that what's the opportunity that we can provide for the users for a better yield. Let's say there's a better yield offer in other lending or cross chain, and then we can do supply, and then we borrow out some stable out of it as well, and remanage the position for them. So that's actually how we see it, and it's already work in progress in terms of the Apollo pool, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the whole initial idea is basically take a look back on Web two. We see a lot of asset manager apps, right? It's basically let you to deposit your USD, and then it let you decide like what is your risk that you want to do, how high is the risk of investment, and I think the end goal is just we just want user to choose what's the risk of investment that they want to. Then we help them to manage everything on the back end. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. What I like about this, so I think the important thing when I think of AI is that it needs to be user owned versus corporate owned, right? Like when I think of user owned AI, I think of like some of the perks of it, like being verifiable, being like there's a couple very important things when it comes to finances that I want to know that my AI agent isn't going to just like take my wallet and dump it or move it to its other AI agent friend that I had nothing about, right? And so I think the fact that you're so ingrained in the Near ecosystem and building on Near, but also going multi-chain because of Near's amazing account model, it really is helpful, and it's good that you guys are incorporating that. Ilya, question for you. A year and a half has gone by. We're here. A year and a half from now, let's get a little visionary here. What's it look like? What does something like a Rhea DeFi ecosystem and a Near user-owned AI ecosystem, they hit combined explosion, amazing. What does it look like in a year and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the examples that Rhea already has are really cool. I think we can definitely see a lot more proliferation of this kind of concept of like, effectively autonomous agents, right? That are they start in financial, right? And I think like they naturally, they live in this like blockchain environment, so it's the financial parts is easy for them. But I think where things are getting interested is where they are able to start to actually participate in also real world economy, right? Because like if like a lot of yield will come on chain through RWAs, and so you can imagine having autonomous agents that actually go and buy a gas station, and then the revenue is flowing back on chain. You know, you buy a coffee shop, buy a laundromat, right? And actually starting to bring those types of assets. And like the agent itself is tokenized, right? So you can own part of it and effectively, but like agent is not just an asset, it's a business, it's an operation. It can run things, it can have contracts, it can, you know, have purchase orders, etc. Right. So like you have all of those pieces starting to really kind of come together, like things that like people were imagining as DAOs, right, back in the day, where you had like autonomous organizations. Now you can actually have that with AI being at the core, actually operating it, but then linking it back to real world, linking it to the physical world. So I think like, I mean, Rhea kind of being that host, right, where you can actually trade, where you can, find, discover, understand, participate in this autonomous agents, I think is really cool. And again, the like investment, yield optimization, etc., are the first ones because they're kind of native to this blockchain infrastructure. But that's, I mean, like what we've been working on in Tense is effectively creating that protocol for AIs to communicate and coordinate with not just other AIs, but also with other legal entities and physical. How does AI hire a person, right? Like you need effectively some legal contract that settles on chain that is able to be executed, and that itself can actually be tokenized and traded as well. And so you can have all this kind of instruments. That's why DeFi is really this like kind of financial infrastructure for this AI world we're building.
Really interesting side quest that it's been doing is this Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem, right? Escobar, if you want to talk a little bit about that, and then Illia give your response, that'd be really helpful, I think, to sort of frame what's going on there.
For sure, yeah. So in terms of having BTC, it's part of the things that we envisioned since day one. When we wanna work on this, how we can develop using the chain signature stack, right? How we can utilize this product. Then we're just thinking, okay, the biggest market attention is always Bitcoin. The biggest move will always come from Bitcoin. Then how we want to ensure that Bitcoin have a good utility as well, which is it's come to DeFi because it's all about decentralization and also transparency. So we just think about, okay, then we need to figure out what's the best user experience for DeFi user for Bitcoin users. They don't need to feel like it's another home, and they should feel like it's their home, which is they need their own wallet, they need their own things to do, and it's not presenting with other assets. It's it's not horrible. It's just not the best way to present the BTC community. So we just figure out how we can spin off Rhea Finance to btc.rhea.finance, where we enable user to just connect their Bitcoin native wallet like Unisat or Xverse. Then they can simply supply their BTC native assets. Then it's up to them how they want to use it. They can borrow out a stable coin, and then they can make a loop strategy, buy another Bitcoin, or they can also earn some extra yield by also supplying their stablecoin assets. It's part of the whole strategy that we provide for the users on BTC side. Yeah, probably Ilya have more thoughts on how he want to see things on BTC side as well.
And the non-programmable chains too, like Zcash and stuff. So if we want to riff on that.
Yeah, I think the kind of one of the clear use cases for this chain abstraction, like, I mean, we thought it's going to be, all those applications on different chains. The thing is, like, all the applications, different chains, and mostly just exchanges and lending. And so what's more interesting was like, hey, let's actually get access to all of these assets that are sitting there and are not able to participate in kind of DeFi and finance and in all of these ecosystems. And Bitcoin, indeed, as Escobar mentioned, like is the main asset, right? It's a king of all assets, from everything from volume, from supply, from number of users. And so, yeah, I think it's like definitely the most important ecosystem to tap into and create us opportunity. I think there was a lot of like talk about like Bitcoin layer twos and really kind of opening this up, but there hasn't been that much actual products that are really easy to use or kind of straightforward, or you can do from the comfort of your Bitcoin wallet. And so it was really exciting to see the Rhea's kind of Bitcoin user flow, right? You log in with your Bitcoin wallet, you can do all the DeFi. It looks like it's a DeFi of Bitcoin, right? For all intents and purposes. And so again, very, very kind of aligned with this chain abstraction vision, delivers, real product, and yeah, kind of fits into the existing kind of mentality of the users. So yeah, it was really exciting to see. But indeed, yeah, there is now XRP, there is Zcash, there's kind of all of these other assets as well, which kind of have very similar notion where people are just, there's no yield, there's no staking, there's no way to borrow against it, like beyond what you can do on Binance potentially in small amounts, and there's no uh, opportunities to really freely trade back and forth as well. And so, kind of across the Near ecosystem right now, we see like a proliferation of these products, which is really exciting because they kind of opened up Near to all of these different user bases as well, and kind of solidify us as a place where all of this activity can be happening in a very natural way for those users.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so cool. That I did not expect, like the BTC and the Zcash and the XRP. That all, like, it's a very clear use case and people are using it, so that's good. All right, Illia, thanks
That
so
is,
much.
hi, thanks guys, good to see you.
How will Rhea Finance incentivize community participants with the TGE? What role will XRhea and ORhea utility tokens play in governance and broader ecosystem? This is the question I want to get to. Let's break this down.
Sure. So, I mean, to support community growth and shared success, we have completed an initial airdrop of 4% of the total Rhea supply as the initial airdrop, right? For the whole community, it was split into multiple campaign with one of them was a Rhea points participants. This align with our long-term vision of expanding Rhea based on a strategic direction. Why we built XRhea and ORhea. So think about this way: XRhea is more like a utility token, while the Rhea itself, the main token, is more a tradable token, and ORhea is an incentive token. So the user journey will most likely be a stake Rhea. They're gonna receive XRhea, which is by staking Rhea and receiving XRhea, they will earn the first layer of the yield, which is in Rhea token. And by holding XRhea, they will have an options. They will have three options. One is spend Rhea as a gas fee. The second options will be locking XRhea to boost their landing incentive. And the third option will be XRhea supply as a collateral, where when they're supplying as a collateral, they will accumulate ORhea as an incentive token. Yeah, so on OREA conversion, OREA incentive token, they will be converted to REA token. It's based on the XREA holding, XREA utility that they utilize, and also, yeah, it's basically all the on-chain reputation.
Anything else you want to talk about right now? Like, any last things you want to share before we hop off?
Yep. So, just a little bit deeper on the token utility as well. We have prepared like around 30% of our token to be part of the incentive for the future for the community for the future incentive, which is that will be followed by 3% 3 months linear and 30 months of 36 months the 36 months of linear fasting, 3 months cliff, 36 months linear fasting. Yeah. Then with that, we're just going to distribute that token gradually based on our on-chain campaign.
Thanks so much for like the time here, a good conversation, and I hope everybody checks out Rhea, and great for having you, man. Till we talk again.
Thank you, Jared.